For newcomers, so this sutta is about how to overcome akusalas. But the term asava seems to be a little new one to many of you, right? Now, maybe I ask some questions from those who have been already coming about the background of the sutta. How do we understand asavas? What is asava? Huh? Outflows. Mm-hmm. So there could be a literal meaning and a contextual meaning. In Pali we have two contexts. Literal meaning and the contextual meaning. Now when you say Sugato, Itipiso Bhagava Arahan Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Samman, Sugato. Sugato means well gone. But that's not the meaning of Sugato. What is well gone? So you have to explain what is well gone. Well gone means the person who went to the supreme place, Sambodhi. Does that interpretation reflect Sugato literally? I don't think so. It's like Bhagava. Bhagava? What does Bhagava mean? Lucky one, blessed one, nah? How do we understand? Lucky one, blessed one. So the literal translation could be the blessed one. But it is not the contextual meaning. Bhagava means the person who uprooted greed, hatred and delusion. Uprooted. Otherwise the tree will keep growing. Right? The tanha, craving will keep going, keep growing. Uprooted. So when you say blessed one, lucky one, you find it? So two meanings. For every Pali context, we have two meanings. Literal meaning and the contextual meaning. Sometimes the literal meaning is enough. But most of the time, it is not enough. So when you say asava, one meaning could be outflow. Also inflow. Inflow, outflow. But does it really tell us what is asava? Then what is asava? Teens. Now we are getting caught up with English translations. I can write today. So before we explain about this sutta, we have to understand is font size enough? Should be. Asava. All right. So there are translations. Taints. Cankers. Then inflows. Then outflows. What else? Fermentation. Tations. Then have you found out any other translation in books? F? Effluence. Effluence. That's another translation. Effluence. This one, Effluence. But what is asava? We have to understand the context. None of these translations are really talking about the context. Let me ask you, where do you find asavas in the Buddhist teachings? Where? Have you ever come across this term? In your sutta reading, in your other teachings? Now, say for instance, Sila, you might say, Sila Samadhi Panya. Then Sammaditthi is the Noble Eightfold Path. Yoniso Manasikara, one prerequisites of becoming a Sotapanna. As such, you can see the context, the background of each Dhamma concept. So, what is the background or context of Asava? Where does this Asava fit in our Dhamma understanding? That's why you came here, to learn from me. So, I mean, all right. Paticca Samuppada. Paticcasamuppada. What is this? The central concept in Buddhism. Central. If Buddhism is the whole thing, the central. The Four Noble Truths, Sila Samadhi Panya, anything, everything. The central concept of Buddhism is Paticcasamuppada. Paticca, co-arising or dependent. Dependent or co-arising. What is co-arising? Cause, effect. Then here, conditions. Cause through conditions create effects. Effects create again cause. That's how it works. Huh? Then, how many components are there in the Paticcasamuppada, like cause, effect, cause, effect, cause, effect? Huh? 12. There are 12. They 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The first one? Avijja. Avijja means ignorance. Then Sankhara. Vijnana. Then Namarupa. Then Salayatana. Then Passa. Then Vedana. Tanha. Upadana. Bhava. Jati. Then Chara. Marana. All right. Now, for those who don't know these Pali words, let me explain to you. Ignorance about the Four Noble Truths. Because of that, you create karma, mental formations. Then the consciousness traverses. Then it creates mind and matter. Because of that, it creates 6 sense spaces. Because of that, creates contact, feelings, craving, clinging. Then the next lives, one by one, becoming. Then, when you come to this point, then you will be reborn in different lives. Deva, Manusa, you can be a deity, animal, whoever, and then you are going to experience aging and death. So, Asava. Do you see any mention about Asava in the Paticcasamuppada? Can you trace this somewhere there? Huh? What's that? You don't find it. Is the way how the Paticcasamuppada is given is correct here? That one we have to find out. There is a sutta called Vibhanga Sutta in the Samyutta Nikaya. This sutta says, if Paticcasamuppada must have a cause, how come there is only an effect and that effect creates sankhara? There must be a cause to avijja. There must be. What is that cause? Asava. Now you'll be happy, huh? What we are going to learn is the first cause. But asava is not the first cause too. Asava and avijja, they are mutually dependent on each other. Asava creates avijja, avijja creates asava. Interesting, huh? So asava, simply speaking, means the root of our akusala. The starting point of our akusala. Right? Now you might be very concerned about your akusala. The starting point of your akusala is asava. Right? If we cannot translate, let's put it as asava. When we cannot translate some words, we just keep it as it is. Right? Then we are not adulterating that particular word. Right? So, even in regard of the Patissamuppada, asava is the co-arising starting point to the Patissamuppada. That means our starting point of the asavas, what you call akusalas, is asava. So how do we understand these words then? These translations. Do these translations talk about this issue? Avijja and asavas are interdependent? All right. So now you understand the basis of asava. So how do we understand what is the role of asava? Asava is the starting point of our akusalas. That means our sansaric life. This sansaric life, the starting point is asava. A literal translation could be inflow, outflow, but what is coming in, what is going out? They are called the contents of asavas. I think we discussed that. We have kama asava, bhava asava, and avijja asava. Kama, bhava, avijja. These are the roots of our sansaric life. Sensuality, existence base, and ignorance. Then ditti, it is given in the Abhidhamma. It's not a sutta teaching. That's why you understand that there are 4 asavas in Dhamma. But 4 asavas is an Abhidhammic interpretation. But this sutta says only 3 asavas. All right? Understood? Then let me ask you, how do we understand asava? What is the background of asava? Beginning of our akusalas. This sansaric life is a continuation of that akusala. Now, although we started off our life with asavas, are we creating asavas at the moment too? Yes. Then you have a couple other words to understand. I think I'm going to, it's okay? Right. Then we have to understand couple other words about akusalas. Now we all are concerned about these. Why? We meditate to overcome akusala. We practice all these meditations to stop akusala. You are learning Dhamma to stop akusala. Right? So akusala, understanding akusala is very, very important. So now let's understand the context of asava in terms of akusala. Now, if asavas are the root of our sansara, then we have to understand certain other concepts. Roots. What are the roots? Lobha, dosa, and moha. Right? Then what about the rest? Alobha, adosa, amoha. What is lobha? Greed, hatred, and delusion. Where they come from? They come from asavas. Then now I am going to dispel a misconcept. What word is very famous? Huh? Which one is very famous? Which one you know? But how did the Buddha introduce this term? Did the Buddha use the word kilesa or upakkilesa in the suttas? The Buddha used this word. This is mentioned in the Abhidhamma. If you see all the sutta texts, they take this translation, defilements, they use it for both kilesa and upakkilesa, but the word that is used for the, what you call, kilesas is upakkilesa, not kilesa. Upakkilesas are very important because there are 16 upakkilesas. Actually, defilement is a wrong translation too, because upakkilesa does not mean defilements, kind of corruptions, maybe mental impurities. So then these asavas create roots and then upakkilesas. These are the degrees of akusala, different degrees. We have degrees, huh? Even when you go for a coffee shop, they have normal coffee, cappuccino, espresso, americano, mocha. Those are levels. They brew the coffee at different temperatures. In the same way, now asavas are the starting point, then roots, then upakkilesa. Then what happened? You create papancha. This is the full-blown version of akusala, papancha. Mental proliferations. Mental proliferations. The full-blown version of akusala. All right, so this is the background. This will be the theme of our retreat this month, upakkilesas. This will be the theme of another retreat which I will be doing in Penang, papancha. Interesting. So now you know the different degrees, asavas, roots, upakkilesas, papancha. Asavas are there until we attain nibbana, but we could do something for roots. That's why you do dana, to avoid lobha. That's why you practice metta, to avoid dosa. That's why you practice wisdom, to avoid moha. All right? And then moha and avijja also two different things. Avijja and moha. These are two different contexts. They are not the same. Some people say moha is ignorance too. Avijja is the sansaric ignorance. It comes under the patisambhava, sansaric ignorance. That's why we are in the sansara. Moha is the one life version of ignorance. Now we are born, the sort of ignorance that we have in this life is called moha. Right? That's why we try to withdraw moha when we are trying to practice dana and all that. Right? All right, that's enough for the background because we had to go to the sutta. All right. Now today we are discussing the second method of overcoming asavas. What is the first method? Seeing. We said that we need to see the akusalas. How can we see? Give me an example. The first method is seeing. Seeing. We discussed that already. That means most of the time we know that this is bad, but we are not able to see the problem at that time. So we are doing it. But if we can see the akusala at that time, we can avoid it. One example? Anger. I think we know that we are getting angry, but there is something that is disturbing us not to be angry. No, you have to become angry. Otherwise, you can't solve the problem. That means this is being impeded by that thought. This will be suspended, impeded. Because we want to maintain, protect our self, ego. You have to talk to them. You have to be straight. Right? So then we are not able to see the bigger picture, the larger, bigger picture of the problem. Right? Let's take another example too. Addiction. Addiction is a long-term thing. But the first time when you get addicted, if we understand, if I get addicted to this particular thing, then you could have avoided it. You could have stopped that. Now, what kind of addiction can we talk about? Like a normal addiction? Compulsive eating. Eating without the need of eating. Just open the fridge and eat. Eat. You don't have to eat, but you're going to eat because there are food. So you eat. Now, oftentimes people eat when they are very stressed out. Eat a lot of things. They're so angry. So, that is another example. That means they don't see what is going to happen to us. So, the first method is to see the problem at that time so you can avoid that. Even when you get jealous about somebody, right? You are going to see, why I'm going to be jealous? I have my own life. I don't have to gossip about it with somebody, right? I'm happy about what I've been doing. Maybe what I have is not what they have, right? Our karma, different people's karma, right? So in the same way, you are going to see the akusala at the time. Janatuva pasatuva. Okay, we did that. The second one today which we'll be discussing is Samvara. Samvara means sense restraint. Okay, let's talk about it. Right? So first we have to learn the text. Katamecha bhikkave asava samvara pahatabbha. Idha bhikkave bhikkhu patisankha yoniso chakkundriya samvara sangyuto viharati. Yanyissa bhikkave chakkundriya samvarang asangutassa viharato uppajjeyung asava vighata parilaha chakkundriya samvarang sangutassa viharato evamassa te asava vighata parilaha nahonti. Depending on the time, we will only pick. Now, this is the what we call abstract of that section. We will pick only the important words. Let's see the translation. Asavas samvara. Samvara means, what does samvara means? Samvara. Samvara means guarding your senses. You're going to guard your senses. How many senses do we have? 5. Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jivha, Kaya. Also Mana. Mana is the coordination. Eyes, then sounds, not sound. Eyes, ears. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue. That's the Western way, yeah? They say thinking, hearing, smelling, touching. Then, yeah, that is the Western way of saying smelling and then thinking. So, Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jivha, Kaya, Mana. Then the Buddha says that if you can bring Patisankha Yoniso, if you can bring Patisankha Yoniso to your eyes, then you can overcome akusalas, asavas that come to your eyes. Then we have to understand what is Patisankha, what is Yoniso. That one we have to understand. What is Patisanka? Patisanka? Patisanka. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Chakku, Sota, Ghana, Jivha, Kaya, Mana. That means eye, ear, nose, then tongue, body, and mind. Right. So now the Buddha says that all these sense faculties create asavas. They all create asavas. But they create different asavas. The asavas that are created by eyes are not the asavas that are created by the ears. Asavas that are created by the nose are not the asavas created by the tongue. And the asavas created by the mind are totally different from asavas created by the rest of the thing. So the Buddha said, if you can become sense restrained or guard your senses, you can get rid of all the asavas that are arising from each of these. In order to do that, the Buddha said 2 words. Patisankha. Yoniso. These words should be understood. Patisankha. Now this means thinking. Pati means keep thinking. That means do consideration. Do consideration, the appropriate consideration to particular objects that are coming to your senses. Then yoniso. Yoniso means wise attention. See, wise attention, you cannot avoid it. That is the starting point of all Buddhist practices. Wise attention is the starting point of all the Buddhist practices. Give me an example. What path are you supposed to practice? What is your path? You say, I have a Dhamma journey, I practice Dhamma. Then what is that Dhamma journey called? Noble Eightfold Path. If you make it simple, you would call it Sila Samadhi Panya. But the broader term is the Noble Eightfold Path. How to start the Noble Eightfold Path? We have discussed that here many times. How to start? No, not from Samadhi. Wise attention. Now you will understand how important is this. This is what will mount you on the Noble Eightfold Path. Without wise attention, you will never practice Samadhi, and then don't talk about the rest of the path factors. So the most important concept. What is wise attention? Wise attention? Trace back. Tracing the dukkha to its origin. Then you will have to trace back and trace forward. That means if you pick any experience in your life, happiness, unhappiness, anger, jealousy, frustration, then irritations, annoyances, expectations, all these are experiences. But the Buddha said you have to bring in the wise attention into these experiences. How can we bring? We have to trace that particular experience to its origin. Let's take a frustration. Now let's say somebody is frustrated. Things didn't happen the way he or she wanted. For that person, she always think about, oh, this didn't happen, so I'm unhappy. I'm very sad. People didn't help me enough. But the Buddha said that person has to trace that particular frustration experience to its origin. Why it happened. Why it happened so. Right? So that person will be able to understand that particular experience in a better way. So wise attention is the one that helps you to bring that experience to its origin. When you are tracing that experience to its origin, you will have to trace backward, you will have to trace forward to understand, to get a full sense of that experience. It might be a sadness, it might be a happiness. Right? I think people don't talk about Buddhism when they are happy. Huh? When I'm happy, why do I want to follow Buddhism? Huh? Right? Then they are going out of wise attention. Right? Right? So, the Buddha said you have to bring in wise attention to happy, unhappy, whatever experiences in your life. So, the Buddha said, if you want to watch your senses, guard your senses, you need the due consideration with wise attention for the working of these sense faculties. Okay, let's take an example. Chakku. Now, chakku means eyes. Where is the problem? Is it with my eyes, or is it with the object that eyes got caught up? Where is the problem? Huh? The way we interpret. Now you have your eyes, then there are objects. Maybe you see a person that you don't like. Huh? It can happen, right? You cannot stop them coming onto you. Right? They are just going and then they bump into you, you bump into them. So, where is the problem? Is that problem? But you will blame me, why did I go to street at this time? Huh? So the problem is neither of these things. It is the Chandaraga. Now, as you said, interpretation. How you give the meaning to that particular object. If our meaning, interpretation is good, wholesome, then we don't mind about who we are meeting, what sounds we are hearing, what smells we are having, right? But if you are too much into your objects, then you will go through a hard time. If you are such an aromatic person, I need that smell all the time. If not, I cannot stay. I need that taste. I need that touch. I need that, mood. If I don't get that mood today, no, I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm moody. If people talk to you, say, I am moody, don't talk to me. Hang up the phone. Right? So you're pretty much caught up with those objects. But the problem is not with your eyes. The problem is the meaning you have given to these sense faculties individually. Now, the Buddha said, you don't have to give meaning to these sense faculties. It is unnecessary. Buddha said, give patisankha and yoniso to these sense faculties. Give the wise attention whenever an experience is going to happen, and bring wise attention to that experience. It's a challenge. Right? It's harder than I talk, but it is a challenge. But it is going to work one day. If you start it today, one day you're going to make it. Right? Not today, maybe. At least you know it today. So, whenever you are experiencing anything out of these sense faculties, you are going to bring in patisankha part and yoniso part into that experience. Right? Now, let's take sota, sounds. Right? Sounds. You might like to hear somebody's sound. Somebody. Maybe a sound of something. Right? But if you don't hear that sound, you might think that I should not be happy. You can be happy, but I shouldn't be happy today. Right? You are giving the meaning to your ears and the sounds. Why? Right? Let sounds be there. Don't give the meaning. Just experience the sound. Just experience the image, form. Just experience the smell. Just experience the taste. This is real difficult for many people. Jivha, taste. If you are carried away by a certain taste, then you are always going after that. Yes? Likes and dislikes, mind processes. But we are talking about what is happening in the actual process. In the actual process, you give the meaning through the mind. Right? Mind coordinates. At the same time, mind produces its own thoughts. Mind works in two ways. Now here, mind has its own working thoughts. At the same time, mind coordinates all these sense faculties. Right? It works in two ways. So, it is how we have to understand. So, let's go and see here. Patisankha yoniso chakku indriya sangvara sangvuto viharati. There is someone who practices due consideration and wise attention in regard to the chakku, eyes. What kind of eyes? Chakku indriya sangvaran asangvutasa. Let's say that someone is behaving by guarding his or her eyes. How to guard our eyes? Put something like this? Cover up? How to guard? Majjhima Nikaya last sutta 152 Indriya Bhavana. Indriya Bhavana Sutta. In this sutta, someone comes over to the Buddha and asks, Bhante, I think that I'm going to see some, people that I don't like. So today I decided I'm not going to see them. So will I be able to attain Nibbana? Then the Buddha said, the blind people will hit Nibbana faster than you. Blind people, they don't see anything. But they still have karma, right? They have different karmas. Then somebody approached the Buddha, said this about the second one. Bhante, I hear some people, some voices, sounds which I don't like. Can I not hear those sounds? Probably walking away from that place. Then the Buddha said, then the deaf people will attain Nibbana faster than you. So you cannot deprive of your senses. Don't do that. Sensory deprivation is not sangvara in Buddhism. You are seeing them, you are hearing them, you are smelling, you are touching, you are thinking, but you are changing the meaning you are giving to those things. That's the skill over there. You are not walking away, right? Because one day they will meet you. You will meet them. You cannot stop that, right? So, sensory deprivation is not the sangvara. Sangvara means you are going to, take care of your senses. You're going to take care of yourself. Not you are going to control. Some people wrongly explain controlling. Control your mind. No. There is no Pali interpretation for controlling the mind. How to control the mind? Mind has to work in a raw way, natural way. Mind likes to go from one thought to the other thought. Is it bad? I think it is sometimes good. When you are in a bad mood, then your mind goes to another mood. Good. It's good, right? Otherwise, we will thinking about what happened to me yesterday, maybe last month. Right? Yes?
Can you give an example and say, okay, the neighbor is doing some noise and all this and you're getting very angry. So how do I turn that into something that will make me feel more better?
Two ways. One is to follow the city guidelines, to make a complaint, right? To be professional enough. Second is, if you cannot do that, if things are happening in the back door, right? Then you are going to give the meaning, a different meaning to this. I am not getting annoyed by this thing. You practice that. Huh? Make a complaint, I said. All right, so let's go back to our discussion. So, we are not going to walk away from the objects. We are seeing, we are hearing, we are smelling, we are tasting, we are touching, we are thinking. But the meaning that we are giving to those experiences need to be changed in a wholesome way. That is Samvara. Any questions so far?
So that means everything that's unpleasant, we are going to tell the mind that it's not at all.
Yeah, we have to be skillful. Kusala. Kusala means we are changing the meaning of the experience we are giving to that particular one. Yes.
You say that, I mean, it's spontaneous moment when you meet something or someone unpleasant. So, bad practice or?
No, I don't think so. If you know you cannot handle that moment, that event, then you will have to do something else. But when you practice Dhamma in a very good way, but you should be able to overcome that too one day. But let's say you are not spiritually mature enough, right? You know Dhamma, but you are not practically enough with that Dhamma thing, so you will take some time rather than going and make a mess with that person in that event, right? So you are trying it, but one day you have to go to that level. All right, then the same thing. Then it says, then if you are really practicing Patisankha and Yoniso to your eyes, then anything that comes to you with Vigata Parilaha, interesting. Parilaha means burning. Vigata means annoyances. Anything that comes out of not doing as such, not doing the proper calming of the senses, from this asava will not arise in you. So also the rest of the things. This is ears, this is nose, right? It is nose, and then what else? Then Ghana means nose, Jivha means tongue, Kaya means body, Mana means mind. So whatever the asavas that are supposed to arise from these faculties will not arise in you. But I think we have to discuss a couple of them. What are the usual asavas that can come from each sense faculties? Now the first one is really clear. It's about eyes. Can you think about an asava that you might get caught up with? Eyes. Seeing the people that you don't like to see. Right? So how are you going to overcome that? You are not giving an interpretation that I'm not going to see them. Rather, you are giving an interpretation, I don't mind. I'm not giving an interpretation as dislike or like. I just go through that experience without giving meaning. Then sota, yes. Let's say in a household, you might not like somebody's voice, right? You are talking too much. Maybe you are not listening to me, right? But one day you are going to stop saying that to that person. All of a sudden, that person is thinking, what happened, what happened all of a sudden? So, but you just becoming quiet, not giving any reactions or responses. Then I think that person may also be changed. Who knows? Right? Rather than you trying to correct that person. Our mind nature is we're going to correct people. This is not the proper way. If you come to the Vihara, bow down 3 times. This is not the way how the Buddha said to sit down. Did the Buddha say us a way to sit down? Did he say something like that in the text? Now, did the Buddha say to us in any sutta that this is the way you have to sit down? No. Who cares how people sit down unless you are doing something really wrong? These are protocols, house rules created by different tradition schools. But we respect. If you are a respectful person, you know how to sit. We don't have to tell anybody. Right? So, sounds. So, you might take it in a different way. You might not give an interpretation about somebody's sound, maybe voice in the house. You are not going to yell at people in the household and other places. You are not going to scream, yell, criticize. You will think that I don't have to do it. Then unnecessary asavas that are supposed to come out of that kind of talking, hearing will stop. So who can do it? It's by us individually who can do this. Third thing, nose, smell, right? How do we understand the asavas that can come from our smell? Maybe our nose especially. Are we attached to different smells? Perfumes, perfumes, aroma. Lots of people have different attachment to their favorite perfumes, then aroma. That's why now different places they recommend kind of a fragrance policy, right? But whatever the smell arises, we are not going to quickly judge, or I would say quickly give an interpretation, right? Because everywhere we go might not be as clean as we expect. So we have to tolerate. Maybe this household must have a problem, right? Maybe they don't have enough things to do it, right? But if you are such a very, perfectionism person, you are going to interpret, very smelly place, I gotta quit. Asavas are coming out because you are disliking that place, right? Maybe 90% places are okay, but maybe for different reasons, there will be such places. There may be somebody who does not clean oneself properly, but we are going to tolerate such places.
Like if we don't like the smell or something which is unclean, we are moving from that place without tolerating. So how we
No, if we have to tolerate, we tolerate. I mean, sometimes you can't walk away. So, I mean, here the most important thing is don't try to give interpretations, because we try to give very hard interpretations about it, and then make a problem in that place, maybe within us. Because we are so much hardwired with the good smell and the bad smell. We are struggling between these two, right? Once the bad smell arises, we are so much disliking. Dosa come out. Dosa arises. Right? If you can go in a good way, right? You are not going to interpret that. But still, there is something we can do to stop unnecessary akusalas about smell to come. Then jivha. Yes, you have a question?
What about allergic reaction in terms of smell or taste?
Yeah. Then you have to set your boundaries. If somebody has it, that person has to set the boundaries. Because not every place has a scent-free background. So that person has to think about. You can't bring it to this kind of a thing because it's a personal, it's a health issue, right? So.
What if the person is staying in the household, then the other person inside the household doesn't really respect your allergic reaction to certain items?
Yeah, that's a difficult, tough situation. I think there should be a good communication between them. Or maybe if things are not going to work, because it's a health issue, that person may have to plan an alternative thing. Yeah. There are such situations. All right, about the taste. How to stop unnecessary asavas about taste? What kind of asavas do we have about the taste? Have you already created asavas about your taste? This restaurant is the best. Otherwise, I'm not going to these places. Right? So, that means you have created it. There may be good food. But if you given that kind of a strong validation to that restaurant, the food, then you might be creating some asavas, like without your knowledge. Just appreciate the food, but don't give that strong validation to that place. Then you are struggling with the taste. Right? So there are lots of things as such. Then body, kaya, touch. Let's say you have to be somewhere. Then you cannot sleep like in your home house bed. A lot of people don't like to sleep in other beds. It's difficult for them to, interact with that bed. So then you are going to understand what is happening, and I should be able to cope up with this bed too. Right? Not thinking that I'm not going to like any bed other than my house bed. If you create that, wherever you go, you're going to hate all the beds. This is not for me. To have a touch issue, touch problem. Right? That can happen, right? This is not the pillow. I need my own pillow. It's not comfy enough.
I feel people carry a pillow
to the hotels. Hotel people might think they are stealing the hotel pillows at the end. So, when people are strongly attached to, if they have a health problem, yes, it might be okay. But I think it's not a health issue for many people. It's just their habit that they really like only one particular thing. All right, it's about the body. What about the mind? Manindriya? Thoughts. Mind and thoughts are two different things. Right? Why do I say so? What is more important here, mind or thoughts? Mind is one life thing. Thoughts are the very difficult ones. You have to do something for them. Buddha does not talk about mind a lot. He talks about thoughts. Kayanupassana, Vedanaanupassana, Chittanupassana. Chitta means thoughts, not the mind. Mind is a place for chitta to work. Right? It's like a house. In a house, people have to be there, right? So thoughts. So do we have certain attachment to certain thoughts? Tell me one example. One kind of a thought that people like. Views. There are different views. Religious views, fanatic views, ethnic views, country views, right? So many views, I think everything has a view now, this time, right? So these views are giving us a hard time in becoming a free person. The Buddha said finally we have to be free from our views. That is called sammaditthi. So when you carry all the views and trying to practice Buddhism, you cannot practice Buddhism because views are stopping you, impeding you. They are not letting you practice it. Right? So it's a big issue. A long time ago, there was an incident that somebody has told somebody, two Buddhists, that this person bought, I think, kind of a packet which has small packets. I think the person A offered one packet out of this big packet. The rest of the things that person has been keeping for the whole year, not yet expired. The other person is trying to say, you cannot offer these packets of the Buddha, it's already, you open it. But actually, the big packet is open, the rest of small sachets are there. Then I said, there is no such thing that you cannot use because actually there were packets inside the big one, right? So they have brought their own views onto these things, offering and all that, right? So there are certain mindsets that people are having about different things. They are existing in the form of a thought. So do not attach to certain thoughts, right? Then when you attach to certain thoughts, what will happen is that you will not take care of those thoughts, right? The Buddha said, take care of your thoughts, not control your thoughts. Why? You cannot control thoughts. Sometimes people don't understand how watching the senses work. Sometimes someone can go sugarless for 1 week, only for 1 week. But the 7th day, this person is compensating for the whole sugar. I'm eating 10 chocolates. Why? 7 days, I didn't eat any chocolate. That kind of activity, I call it controlling the mind or thought. That doesn't work. So you have to understand why you are doing this thing, why you went sugarless for 1 week. Just like people go for vegetarianism, why don't people go sugarless if they can? Sugarless, saltless, unnecessary oilless. It's good for us, health-wise, right? So anyways, getting caught up with different thoughts. So this is what we call by guarding the senses. But still, I think there are certain things that were not clear, so I'm going to the note now. Unwise attention leads to a lack of sensory restraint. Why we are not able to guard our senses?
Because we are not paying
Wise attention. Now there arises wise attention here too, right? What is attention? What is attention? Let's talk about this thing a little bit, so you will understand a little bit more about wise attention. Huh?
What is the difference wise attention versus
Yes, that's what I'm going to teach now. All right, that's a very good start for this discussion, even to other discussions too. Let me ask you, is attention automatic? What's the other word? Manual? Not manual. Is attention automatic, natural? This is attention. I'm talking from a Buddhist point of view, not from psychology. We want Buddhism. We want what the Buddha said. There are many psychologists who may have described this differently. They are changing. Every year they are changing. It's good. That's for experiments. Attention. And then Yoniso Manasikara. In Pali, let me put like this. Wise attention. And this one called Manasikara. Sorry. This one called Manasikara. So there are two. Now attention. Is attention automatic? Do we have attention all the time? Huh? From Buddhist point of view? Huh? Huh? Yeah, person to person. Now, I'm not talking about the attention span of somebody learning something. That's a different field. I mean, an attention. Is an attention always working with all of us all the time? Kusala side or akusala side? Good or bad? Yes. According to Abhidhamma, Manasikara is an automatic natural thing. Actually, in Suttas too, we have a Manasikara. Even when someone does a bad thing or a good thing, they all have Manasikara. But it is not Yoniso Manasikara. Right? It's not Yoniso Manasikara. Yoniso Manasikara, you have to do something. You have to bring wisdom onto that. As I said earlier, you are going to trace the experience, the particular experience, down to its origin. This is the Buddhist attention. The Buddhist attention is this. Trace the experience down to its origin. What is the experience? The experience means?
either sad or happy.
whatever experience. But we normally experience anything, but we are not trace that experience down to its origin. That means we are not looking at how it arose. What is happening with that experience? How it brought this sadness or happiness. So we have to do that kind of, that is called yoniso manasikara. All right? So when we don't have this yoniso manasikara, then all our senses taking different paths. Our senses are going on the akusala side. So if you bring yoniso manasikara, then you are going to stop akusalas that are going to arise from those sense faculties. Make sense? Okay, wise attention is as such. Now we will be learning. That's a good one too. Mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness means sati. Sati? Awareness. Now, what are you talking about? Mindfulness or are you talking sati? Which one you are talking about? We have to talk about sati, not mindfulness. Mindfulness is a Western translation about what they think about sati. So, this translation is not adequate for sati, but we still use it because people know it. Filling the mind could be mindfulness. You fill the mind. When you practice sati, are you filling your mind with certain positive things? Aren't you? We are. When you practice sati, when you practice awareness, then you are going to fill the mind. Let's say if you have, if you want to practice dana, so you fill the mind with dana, you fill the mind with metta, you fill the mind with wisdom. But is it the only thing that we do with sati? Are we not emptying out certain akusalas too? Yes. When we are practicing sati, we have to emptying out the lobha, dosa, moha, while filling dana, metta, panya. Then this translation is inadequate for sati. I mean, I'm talking from the Buddhist perspective. You could still use it, especially for mindfulness therapies and all that. We have a forum actually coming up about this. So you were asking the connection between this and this. Not this, sati. Sati and yoniso manasikara. You cannot come to sati without wise attention. Why? Sati is a basic quality of the mind, right? How do you come to that basic awareness without understanding what it is, what the experience is all about? So yoniso manasikara is the starting point of everything. I will give you another example. Where is sati mentioned? Where is sati? What is the background of sati? Where do you find it in the Buddhist teachings? Noble Eightfold Path. Then when I say you cannot start sammaditthi, then samma sati is somewhere very down the line. So how you go to samma sati? When I say you cannot even practice sammaditthi, samma sati is the seventh path factor. How you go there without sammaditthi? That means you will practice sati when you start with samma, what you call wise attention, yoniso manasikara, then sammaditthi and no. So they are connected that way. But the most important one is yoniso manasikara. All right? We will go to the notes now. Right. What does Samvara mean? Samvara mean watching, guarding our senses. What is Samvara in terms of sense faculties? How to practice sense restraint? I said, do not give unnecessary interpretations to the objects that are coming to your sense faculties. That is how self-restraint is going to connect to the sense faculties. Sangvuta versus asangvuta. Sangvuta means guarded, asangvuta means unguarded. Guarded senses and unguarded senses. What are the asavas in regard to the eye? We discussed already. Yeah? So there are asavas regarding your eyes whenever you are not whenever you are not bringing the proper understanding. So also the rest of the sense faculties up until here. Does Samvara mean sensory deprivation? Now here Buddha says you have to guard your senses, take care of your senses. Does it mean a kind of stopping of your senses? I mean stopping, not giving enough attention to your senses? No. That means you have to see, you have to hear, you have to smell, you have to taste, you have to touch, you have to think. But whenever you are experiencing any of these, you are not giving unnecessary meaning to that experience. That is the way how the Buddha asks us to practice. People might go to the forest to meditate, isn't it? Why they go to the forest? Why do people go to the forest for meditations?
Not to see or hear or like
Little something similar to this, something similar. Actually, it's good once in a while go to a place, empty place, whatever. But I understand when you are alone, you may have lots of akusalas than when you are with other people. What do you think? Because you are in a private place. When you are in a private place, your karma can come faster than normally. It might be changed too, right? So it's a very serious, risky thing, right? That's why the Buddha never says that you should not socialize. Buddha says we need a certain socialization, right? So how do you look at it in the form of Buddhism? Kalyana mittas. You need Kalyana mittas. When you are meditating with Kalyana mittas, you have a very different vibe about it. But when you meditate alone, now I'm tired. I just changed myself to something. So that inspiration is important. When you listen to Dhamma with so many other people, you have an inspiration. So time to time, you may go to a certain place, but you have to understand your real life is not that. Your real life is with people. That's why it says people get high on the retreat. When they come back home, they fall back to the earth. That's a problem. Don't fall back to the earth. We should be on the earth. Right? No, these are two different contexts. We cannot compare us to the Buddha. Now I'm talking to lay people. Those who are working with their lay life and then being with their families and all that.
To the society, we are unable to handle certain things.
That is a misinterpretation of your spiritual practice. You cannot say you are unable. That is what I am telling you something here. Practice it in this life with other people. Otherwise, you will do something in the forest. What are your defilements? What are your kilesas, upakilesas? You have to bring it to your normal life, right? So, what I am trying to say is that time to time it's good to go to that kind of a place, but you should not think your peace lies in the forest, lies in a retreat center, lies in the temple. That's a misunderstanding of Buddhism. You have to bring in this understanding to your life, to your family, to whoever the people you are struggling with. You have to bring it with them in the proper way. Yeah.
Bhante, on this Asava, right? So we have our sixth sense law. I mean, in this Asava, does it what? Do we have more predominant in one of the doors or is equal? Means eye, ear, nose, mouth, right? So which is more?
Are you asking whether some sense faculties are stronger than the other ones? Well, depends. According to Buddhism, if you leave out the mind, the ears could be the strongest. But even in a natural death, they say the last thing to go is the ears. Now, when somebody goes into a coma, in an operation, maybe life support, the doctors say you talk to that person. But that person does not show any willingness to talk. But the doctor say, no, you can talk. This person can hear, right? So at that point, eyes are not working. Then nose has nothing to do with that. Then there is no taste, no touch. Mind has gone to a very dominant, like a very incognito mood. Just the hearing. I think hearing could be stronger than other. Now, let's say if you are by a highway, you hear the sounds of the cars, but you don't see them here, right? Yeah. But anyways, when you are guarding your senses, you are treating them equally. Don't think that ears are the strongest and tongue is the lowest. Yeah, you are guarding them equally.
But which one is much more difficult to guard?
I think for you, maybe the taste. Food. Maybe, I don't know. Right? Maybe the food, maybe something else. All right, so the point here is that guarding the senses is not seeing anybody, not hearing, not touching, not tasting. You are still going to see them, you are still going to hear, because you are actually experiencing the moment without giving them interpretations of likes and dislikes too much. 6 senses have been given as an empty village. This is a sutta called Asi Visupama Sutta. Buddha actually talks about 4 poisonous vipers in this sutta. So he says, pleasant and unpleasant external sense objects attack and bombard the 6 internal sense bases. That means objects are really coming onto your sense faculties, but still in other suttas Buddha says it is neither the objects nor the senses that you have to blame, don't have to blame. Your actual working is the meaning that you are giving to those objects that are coming to your senses. Adita Pariyaya Sutta says that everything, all the senses are burning. Are our senses are burning all the time? Yeah. Unless you don't have wise attention, they are pretty much burning. Even the fire brigade cannot extinguish. No bomba. Huh? Then where's the problem? Chandaraga, the sensuous desire, not the sense faculties, is the most dangerous. Under the Kottita Sutta, Buddha says. Let's see an example. Suppose that a black ox and a white ox were joined with a single collar. Two types of ox, black ox, white ox, but joined with one single collar. If someone were to say the black ox is the fetter of the white ox, or the white ox is the fetter of the black one, you could interpret so. Speaking this way, would he be speaking rightly? In Sutta it says, no, my friend, the black ox is not the fetter of the white ox. Nor is the white ox the fetter of the black. The single collar or yoke by which they are joined, that is the fetter. That is Chandaraga. In the same way, the eye, Chakku, is not the fetter of the forms. Chakku is not the fetter of the Rupa. Nor the forms are the fetter of the eye. Whatever desire and passion arises, independence on the two of them. This is called desire and passion. Chandaraga is the problem. That means the interpretation. The interpretation you give to the sense faculty and the object. So don't blame your sense faculties. There are people who are torturing them. I said so. They are torturing themselves. I could have not done it. I need to do something now. They are torturing them, so you don't have to. Because it is not your senses, no your objects, it is the meaning that you are giving to that particular object through your sense. 14.1, grief will come to those who fail to guard their senses under Ganaka Moggallana Sutta. Right? Guard your senses on seeing an object with an eye. Don't reflect on its features or anything associated. Okay, so how do we simply understand? When an object comes to you, you still try to understand that object. Never ever get caught up with that thing. If it is something good, you are understanding what it is. You are not going to like so much, you are not going to dislike so much. Huh? Understand the both. Be in the middle. Finally, how do you develop sense restraint in a more elaborative way? The Buddha says in the Padana Sutta, Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha said, practice Samma Vayama. Samma Vayama, right effort. Right effort is very essential because it helps you to practice Yoniso Manasikara also. I think I already discussed that with you a long time ago. That means make effort to remove existing akusala and then prevent make effort to prevent any non-existing akusala and develop the existing akusala, develop the existing kusala and then maintain and deepen, sustain the non-existing kusala, create. So this is how you are going to develop this practice of sense restraint. All right, any questions? So next Monday we are going to discuss about the Patisevana, third method. So now we discuss about the second method. That means there are certain asavas that are coming when we do not guard our senses. Those asavas are not the asavas that are coming when we don't see them. Now the first method is we have to see them. So when we see them, certain asavas will go away. But those asavas are not the asavas that are coming when we don't guard our senses. These are different asavas. So those different asavas will go away when we guard our senses. Next Monday we are doing what we call Patisevana. Patisevana means wise use of your needs. You may have asavas about your clothing, different clothes that you are wearing, having for long term, branded generic clothing, food, and then medications and shelter. So there are different type of asavas. They have to be avoided in a different way. That is called wise use. All right, any questions for today about guarding your senses? So keep in mind, you cannot control your senses. Don't control. Because once you stop controlling will take you over. That is bad. What would be unwise attention? Unwise attention means when someone does not trace that experience down to it. Sorry, they might take it maybe from a different side of the experience. Let's say somebody was mean to you. So you are not going to investigate that experience down to its origin. Then you take it from a surface level. You think that I have to be, retaliating with that particular person, rather not understanding what really happened. So that is unwise attention.
So anything that's
Unpleasant or pleasant, we have to trace down to its origin of that experience. We have to know why it happened, what could be a good response to this thing. But we normally don't go to that level. We just pick up something on the surface and then going to react to that person, react to us. So we are always with Ayoniso Manasikara.
It's the process.
So, would I be right to understand that wise attention means able to, or we are aware or conscious to see the process or investigate the process.
Process of how that experience arose.
Okay.
Why it arose. Now what I'm going to do, all that is inside, inclusive.
Okay. So
But we
that's-
normally react because the primary parts of the brain, they are always telling us to react, not to respond. That's the nature. Yeah.
Bhante, we have this karma asava, bhava asava, abhijja asava. So this evening we actually study the restraining parts, right? So this restraining part, right, it arises mainly on the karma asava. Maybe my interpretation is it correct?
Can you repeat the question again?
Okay, so we have karma asava, bhava asava, abhijja asava. So this evening we are studying about this restraining. Yeah. So my am I correct that this restraining it mainly arises on the karma asava part?
No.
No.
All of them. All of them. Because all these three appear differently. Kamasava, bhavasava, avijjasava appear differently for different perspectives. Now today we discuss about sense restraint.
Yeah.
Guarding the senses, one of the biggest thing with that is kamasava.
Yeah.
But because of kamasava, we create bhavasava also at the same time.
Okay.
And why kamasava, bhavasava arises? Because of avijjasava. They all are hardwired, mixed up.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
All right, anybody else?
Bhante, regarding his question, so then what is bhava? Bhava asava. What is the meaning of bhava? Avijja we
Bhava,
know,
yeah.
karma we know, but
Yeah, bhavasava means very much planning to be reborn again. When people do dana also, they are thinking that may I be a deva in next life. May I be born with all the money, right? May I be born this and that. They have so many plans about the next life, right?
I think because we have no confidence that we can attain nibbana in this life.
Yes.
I mean, why we think that next life we want to be reborn in the Devarim or what?
Nibbana is not a next life thing.
That's right. Because we have no confidence in attaining in this life the nibbana release.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Then people die with that thought. They might not make it in this life, they will die with that thought. They will be reborn in a better place. But we don't need to define that place now. Don't define it.
Or don't define it.
Once you define it, you are going to be reborn in a lower place.
Oh.
Let me tell you an example. It's like a letter grade. There is a student who is going to sit for an exam thinking that B plus is enough for me. The letter grade B plus. Because his plan was B plus, he will end up way before B plus. There might be somebody who might think that I will get A plus. He might or she might not end up with that A plus because that was the only plan. But the third person is going to think that I'm going to do the best in my exam. I'm not getting caught up with the letter grades, A, B, whatever. He or she might end up way higher than that thought. So take that analogy here. Why you want to decide what I want? Now I always tell an example. One gentleman was asking me about the what do you call a beetle. Bhante, how can somebody become a beetle in next life? I said, why do you ask that from me all the time? A couple times. He said, I'm very much concerned about it. I said, you don't think about it because if you die now, you will become a beetle. That was your last thought, right? So whenever you keep thinking, I want to become an arahant, I want to attain nibbana or sotapanna, even you die, you will become born in a good place. But why we want to take the problem from next life? Why we don't take it from this life? So we have to have the right mindset, wise attention, and practice the Noble Eightfold Path. The rest assured. Rest will be guaranteed. Don't worry about it. And we cannot do anything for that. We don't know what's going to happen exactly, but rest will be assured. That's a happy news, huh?
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you.
Bhante, you mentioned trace the experience
down
to its origin.
But sometimes, for example, I may feel unhappy, or suddenly I feel like not unhappy. I try to trace the origin. What if I couldn't find the origin? What should I do? Am I not in the state of yoniso manasikara?
In practicing Dhamma, we need lots of patience. Patience is the key to all the practices in Dhamma, even to the wise attention. Sometimes it is not that you cannot find, you are not giving enough patience to that particular activity. That's why you are not going there. You feel like you cannot, but not you are that patient enough. Because when something bad happens, we are not trying to deepen our side. We are trying to argue and defend about us, and then to despise about the other person who did it. So parallelly, you are practicing wise attention. You need to bring lots of patience to see this process. Now, a lot of people, they meditate, they listen to Dhamma, they know what to do, but they don't have patience, so they cannot do either. They don't get any benefit out of Dhamma talk, retreats, meditation, because they have largely neglected the most important part for their whatever the good practices. We need lots of patience. The more you patient, the more you are going to practice whatever those tiny, small, large Dhamma practices. So give some patience. Even for meditation, you need lots of patience. So you will see the benefits every day. Now, how do you see everything as it is? You need patience. Otherwise, you will see only the iceberg, tip of the iceberg. You don't see the iceberg. Only the tip will be seen. How do we see the bottom? We have to give more time to us, more time to think. That's why when people are going through a grief time, we are not going to talk about anicca a lot. I always say, time will heal. It takes time. Just because we talk about anicca dukkha anatta, people will not get rid of the pain. It takes time. With the time, that person slowly understands. One good example, Kisa Gautami's incident. Think about this incident. Kisa Gautami's son passed away, but she doesn't want to accept that. So she brought the son to the Buddha. What did she ask from the Buddha? Can you cure this child? What did the Buddha say? Did the Buddha say, now this person has passed away, you don't know anicca, everything is impermanent, everything is suffering, everything is not yours, so just go and bury this body. What did he say? He knows the mentality of people. He said, no, I'm going to cure this son, but on one condition. She was very happy, right? The condition is some mustard. Try to bring some mustard from a house where nobody has passed away. The Buddha knew she will understand Dhamma while doing so. So she went to many houses, then they gave her, then she asked the question at the end, is there somebody who passed away? A grandmother, grandfather? Then she understood, death is not a personal thing. Death is a universal thing. It's a universal thing. Then what happened to my son is also universal. Because when something happens, you think, why me, why me, why me? Why not me? Right? Why not me? Why I got cancer? Why not me? I'm also a normal human being. Right? So I think that is how we have to think. And also these bad translations. When you say anicca, how come you can give a meaning like impermanence to this anicca? Impermanence is a bad translation. Anicca means change. Good or bad change. That's a very good one. When you say change for anicca, good, you might see changes in your life in a good way. You will pass exam, you will make more money, you will have a promotion. How many of you have brought anicca to that experience? Tell me. I think none of you, most of you have never brought anicca to that. What comes to your mind when you think about anicca? I'm getting old, my people are dying, this is anicca. What a bad translation is that. This is how this concept has been taught. The Buddha said, everything that is changing is anicca. Then you don't give impermanence to this beautiful concept. Change. Change. Some people even won the elections using this term. Huh? Right? Even Barack Obama won the election. This was the theme, change. Change. I mean, if you understand the change, you will know why I am making good, why I am like this. Because of anicca. When I am getting old, when I am getting sick, when I die, when my people are dying, also anicca. That's a beautiful way of understanding anicca. Not telling that everything is impermanent. Only my negative side should be picked up with this anicca. All right, I think time is up already. I hope you learned today how to overcome certain akusalas, asavas that are coming when you are not guarding your sense faculties. So what you're going to do is that bring wise attention to each experience. So you need to see the origin of that experience. So then you are able to restrain your senses well. It's not controlling. Don't control your senses. It is a very good understanding. With your very good understanding, you are bringing wise attention to those experiences.